Tonight, take a pinch from your spice jar and hold it between thumb and forefinger. Hear the dry clink of peppercorns, then warm them in your palm and inhale that resinous, spicy perfume. In less than an hour, that single pinch will become 3 small rituals: a toasted pepper cup to sip or to use as a base for a gentle spritz, a tiny jar of finishing salt to lift roasted vegetables or porridge, and a cautiously diluted wart pepper-infused hand rub you can cradle in your hands when you need a little, very grounded warmth. Welcome back to Earthy Remedy, where nature's wisdom becomes everyday wellness. I'm Fiona Thompson. Today we are keeping things simple, exact, and safe. Single cup measures, single jars, and clear steps so you can follow along tonight. The full recipe card and written measures are in the show notes if you want to cook along. If you like these calm projects, consider subscribing so future episodes arrive gently in your feed. Segment 1. A small pantry problem. Imagine a neighbor's jar of peppercorns on the counter. They've been there for a long time. The scent is flat, and there's a little impulse. Either toss them or dump half the jar into everything until the flavor feels loud and guilty. I see you. That moment is exactly why these tiny rituals matter. Instead of waste or extremes, we practice a small stewardship. Toast a teaspoon, pay attention, and let a modest, well-made handful do more than a careless handful ever could. You are not alone in saving the little things. Segment 2. Plain plant and pantry science. Let me explain the science in plain terms. The main active aroma in black pepper is piperine, which gives pepper its warm, lingering bite, and a group of volatile essential aromatics that lift when heat is applied briefly. Gentle toasting for 30 to 60 seconds releases those aromatic oils and brings forward a bright, resinous perfume without burning the bitter notes. High heat or long toasts will char the oils and make pepper taste sharp or ashy. For a home mist or a tiny sip, short, low-heat toasts preserve nuance. Also, remember that concentration matters. A little piperine goes a long way, and dilution is what keeps it pleasant for sipping, spritzing, or touching the skin. Segment 3. Who this suits tonight. These small pepper rituals are best for people who enjoy gentle, warming aromas and who are not highly fragrance or respiratory sensitive. If you have severe asthma, chemical sensitivities, or very sensitive skin, approach cautiously or skip the topical option. Pregnancy listeners, we are presenting these uses as culinary and sensory, not medical. If you are pregnant and considering internal tasting beyond a very diluted sip, check with your care provider. When in doubt, adapt the recipe to extra mild ratios or enjoy just the toasted pepper salt in tiny pinches. Segment 5. Recipe Walkthrough. First, the ingredient lists. I will read each ingredient slowly and exactly. Toasted pepper cup, single cup yield, 240 milliliters water, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon toasted, gently crushed black pepper. That is about 1 to 2 whole peppercorns worth after toasting. Optional, a thin slice of lemon peel or 1/2 teaspoon honey to taste if sipping. For substitutions, if you don't have fresh peppercorns, use 1/2 teaspoon ground pepper, but reduce steep time to 2 minutes and expect more bite. For the toasted pepper salt jar, 2 tablespoons flaky sea salt, 1 to 2 teaspoons very finely ground toasted pepper bits, softened by cooling. Optional, a 1/4 teaspoon finely grated lemon zest for brightness. For the warmed pepper-infused hand rub, 15 to 20 milliliters neutral carrier oil, such as sunflower, grapeseed, or fractionated coconut oil. 1/2 teaspoon cooled toasted pepper pieces to infuse. Final topical dilution target 1 part infused concentrate to 6 parts carrier oil after reduction and straining. That means you will reduce and double strain the concentrate, then dilute so the final jar is mild. We'll go through exact steps next. Equipment needed: a small dry skillet for toasting, a mortar and pestle or spice grinder, a small pot for the cup infusion, a fine sieve, and a double layer of cheesecloth or a fine paper filter for double straining, a clean teaspoon, a sterilized 20 to 30 milliliter jar or roller for the hand rub, and a small 2 to 4 ounce jar for the finishing salt. Also have a thermometer, or an instant read thermometer if you can, for the warmed oil phase, and a clean towel or lid to limit dust when grinding. Now, the numbered steps with timing and sensory cues. I will pause between each step so you can move along. Step 1. Toast the pepper. Place 1 to 2 teaspoons whole peppercorns into a dry skillet over low to medium-low heat. Move the pan gently and listen. After about 30 to 60 seconds, you will notice a brighter, resinous aroma. This is the oils lifting. Do not leave the pan. If you see smoke or smell anything scorched, remove immediately. When aroma lifts, transfer the pepper to a cool plate to stop cooking. Pause and smell the difference between the warmed pepper and the raw pepper. That scent is the small spark we are preserving. Step 2. For the toasted pepper cup. Lightly crush 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of your toasted pepper with the mortar or the back of a spoon. Pour 240 milliliters of water into your small pot and bring to a gentle simmer, not a rolling boil. Once simmering, add the crushed pepper, turn off the heat, and let it steep, covered, for 4 to 6 minutes. After steeping, strain through a fine sieve lined with cheesecloth into a mug. Taste by diluting. For sipping, aim for 1 part infusion to 3 or 4 parts water or tea. Start at 1 to 4 to be very gentle. For a spritz, dilute further, 1 part infusion to 8 parts water or more, and test first on a fabric patch before spraying linens. Step 3. For the toasted pepper salt. Let the toasted pepper cool completely, then grind very fine in the mortar or grinder. Sift if you prefer a lighter texture. In a small bowl, fold 2 tablespoons flaky sea salt with 1 to 2 teaspoons of the finely ground pepper bits and the optional 1/4 teaspoon lemon zest. Taste a tiny pinch on a plain cracker. A little goes a long way, so season conservatively. Transfer to a sterilized small jar and label with the date. Step 4. For the warmed pepper-infused oil. Place 15 to 20 milliliters of carrier oil into a small heat-proof jar. Set that jar into a double boiler or water bath so the oil warms slowly to roughly 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. Just a gentle warmth you can hold your finger in for a second. Add 1/2 teaspoon of the toasted pepper pieces to the oil. Maintain that gentle warmth for 20 to 30 minutes with the jar loosely covered, watching so it never gets hotter than 50 degrees Celsius. After infusion, remove from the water bath, let cool, then double strain first through a fine sieve and then through cheesecloth into a clean small jar. You will have an infused concentrate. Now dilute to a safe topical ratio. Take 1 part concentrate and mix with 6 parts fresh carrier oil. So for example, if you have 5 milliliters of concentrate, add 30 milliliters of carrier to reach the 1 to 6 dilution. Pour into your sterilized 20 to 30 milliliter jar for the hand rub, cap, and label. A few practical tips within those steps. When crushing pepper, do it gently so you keep those aromatic oils. Over-grinding into dust increases airborne particles that can irritate eyes and lungs. If dust rises while grinding, stop and let it settle, or put a lid or a damp towel over the mortar. For the cup infusion, avoid boiling the liquid once the pepper's in. Long, vigorous boils pull bitter notes. For the warmed oil, never heat directly on high. Slow and low is safer and preserves aroma. And always double strain the oil if you plan to apply it to skin, so no solid pepper pieces remain. Segment 6. Storage and serving tips. Label your jars with the date. The toasted pepper cup infusion is aqueous. Cool it quickly and refrigerate within 2 hours and use within 48 hours. If it ever smells fizzy, off, or cloudy, discard it. The toasted pepper salt, kept dry in a sealed jar, will be stable for weeks. Store it in a cool, dry place away from direct heat. The infused oil should be refrigerated and used within 4 to 6 weeks. Always look and smell for off notes before use. For serving, sip the cup warm or at room temperature. Use the salt sparingly as a finishing touch, and use the hand rub on intact, healthy skin only, and always perform a patch test first. For the spritz option, make a very heavy dilution and test on fabric near airflow before spraying into the room. Segment 7. Safety, cautions, and when to avoid. This part is important. First, a 24-hour skin patch test. Place a small dot of the final diluted hand rub on the inner forearm, cover with a breathable bandage, and wait 24 hours. If you notice redness, intense stinging, blistering, or spreading irritation, wash it off and do not use. Second, fabric patch. For any spritz or linen application, spray a tiny amount on an inconspicuous piece of cloth. Let it dry and check for staining or strong lingering aroma. If you have breathing sensitivity, avoid making powdered dust or close-range spritzing. Do not apply the infused oil to broken, inflamed, or sun-exposed skin. Pregnant listeners, people taking medications that interact with piperine, and anyone with complex medical conditions should consult a qualified provider before trying internal sipping beyond a very mild taste. These are culinary and sensory practices, not medical therapies. Segment 8. Reflection and encouragement. Now, take a moment. If you have your small jar or a sample in hand, cradle it. Feel the warmth. Breathe in gently. And notice how pepper's brightness sits alongside warmth. There is an honest, small comfort there. If you tried a tiny sip at a 1:4 dilution, notice how it moves across your palate. If you tried the finishing salt, taste it on a simple piece of bread or a warm vegetable and let the aroma open. These are tiny acts of attention that change how we relate to ordinary ingredients. Closing, a short recap and next steps. Tonight, you learned how to toast pepper properly. Make a 240 milliliter toasted pepper infusion for sipping or a spritz base. Blend a 2 tablespoon finishing salt and create a gently warmed, well-diluted pepper-infused hand rub with a 1:6 final topical dilution. Remember the safety steps. Ventilate when toasting. Avoid inhaling dust. Perform the 24-hour patch test. Refrigerate aqueous infusions quickly, and discard anything that smells off. If you'd like the printable recipe card, exact measures, and substitution notes, they'll be linked in the episode notes. If you tried something from tonight's episode, I would love to hear about it. Send us a voice note or a DM. Tell us how your tiny jar turned out or what variation you made. Subscribe to Earthy Remedy so these small, carefully paced practices arrive quietly in your feed. And before you go, a small reminder to listen to your body, trust the earth, and notice the difference. Take that with you tonight. Thank you for spending this evening with me and a pinch of pepper. Be safe, be curious, and take good care of your hands and your senses. Until next time.